The collusion between the civil service and the Labour Party against Priti Patel is exposed, and the allies of Home Secretary come out publicly to defend her. Right, this saga of Priti Patel and the civil service is still continuing, with the Labour Party now getting involved. Now, thanks to some investigative journalism they've had from, actually, for once, Sky News, we have some new information about the top civil servants approaching the Labour Party officials to find evidence or make up evidence against Priti Patel and all the allegations that she's a mean boss, and she has demands and repeated demands. How dare you as a boss have repeated demands? So we are talking about this today. And also in defense of Priti Patel, her allies are coming out, and the whole Labour Party leadership election is now getting involved. So before we continue, as you know, we have launched our new membership club, and as I've said before, this channel and the main channel on YouTube will remain free for all, as usual. Every day we have a video. The exclusive content that we have as a membership, if you can check it out, check out the link in the description. You have access to longer podcasts and videos every day, exclusive content that you can't find on the main channel, regular social meetups and events, and also members only live streams and Q&As. This is just if you want to get more out of this channel, apart from obviously the daily videos. Feel free to check out the link in the description, or just go on youtube.com/maya2c/join. Now, Priti Patel. So we have new information that over the last 24 hours, apparently, Sky News have discovered that civil servants have been approaching the Labour Party officials to find more evidence, basically, about on these allegations against Priti Patel, the Labour Party. The Labour Party say that clearly this is not an isolated allegation about one individual or one incident. There is evidence that allegations are building up day after day, and the Prime Minister clearly needs to take action. Really, guys? Really? So it's not just a Home Office anymore. It's we've had various other departments coordinating together. This is actually good teamwork from the civil service for once, approaching the Labour HQ and other people to see if they could find more witnesses to say bad things about Priti Patel. Now, the one problem with what they're doing is that they're breaking their own rules. As we know, the civil service have a code. It says you must not act in a way that is determined by party political considerations, or use official resources for party political purposes, or allow your personal political views to determine any advice you give or your actions. Right, so what is going on here right now? Top civil servants, colluding with the Labour Party, try to push Priti Patel out. Why? Because Priti Patel, as Home Secretary, is working hard to, as we've said before, drain the swamp in the Home Office, because Home Office as a department are ridiculous. They are incompetent. We've seen what they've done with our borders, with the immigration policies, not really implementing what we've said before as a government. So Priti Patel wants to have, obviously, her new immigration point-based system. She wants to release certain reports that they're not allowing. So this is all coming against her, but she has some allies. There are some people, friends, who are coming out anonymously, but also some people who are coming out publicly to defend Priti Patel. According to Guido Fawkes, with all these allegations that's coming out, there are some friends some people say that they've known about these sort of things for years, for like 3 years, and suddenly they've decided to come out now. Now, these anonymous briefings from these disgruntled civil servants have come after Priti Patel trying to restore harmony at the Home Office with an email calling on the department to come together as one team, and she deeply cared about well-being of her civil servants. Now, there are some allies coming out and saying that what we are seeing is a concerted effort by certain sections of the civil service to undermine a Home Secretary trying to deliver what people want on crime and immigration. It is deeply disturbing that dark forces are trying to influence the findings of a Cabinet Office inquiry. Now, another person says that it's actually very serious that a civil servant had mental health issues and attempted to take her own life because of the way she was treated at work by her civil service colleagues. And it's childish and stupid for anonymous friends of Philip Rodnam to push around false stories about civil service mistakes, which she had nothing to do with. Now, in case you don't know, Philip Rotnam was the head of the civil servants in the Home Office, and he resigned a few days ago because he said that Priti Patel was mean, and she shouted at him, and she repeatedly had demands that he didn't get done. So that's Philip Rotnam and his friends coming out. But we had some people publicly coming out to defend Priti Patel. We had Boris Johnson yesterday actually sitting pretty next to him during PMQs, which caused the meltdown on the Labour backbenchers and the front bench. Now we have Leon Fox, MP, coming out saying that I have worked with Priti Patel for almost 20 years. In that time, I have always known her to be courteous, diligent and fair. Today's attack in the House of Commons by Jeremy Corbyn is nakedly partisan act from a failed and discredited politician. Priti is an excellent Home Secretary who deserves the support of all her colleagues. She certainly has mine. Now, we were talking about civil servants going against their own code. It's not the only thing, because now they're writing articles. They're writing articles in The Guardian, of all places. So, surprise, surprise, there's a civil servant anonymously writing an article, this is yesterday, talking about this whole issue with Priti Patel and the Home Office. It's saying that this conflict has been building up since Brexit, with ministers demanding that public servants deliver the impossible. Really? The impossible? So in this article, this person says, "You're not really supposed to know who we are, the unelected bureaucrats of the UK." And then he goes on to say that this very British convention of public life, like so many others, has been dangerously weakened by Brexit and is now being shredded by an emboldened administration still flexing its... Oh my God, if you read this article, you will kind of become quite frustrated about the whole system. That's exactly why this government is trying to drain the swamp, because of you people. And now they're saying Brexit and these changes that we need, these shake-ups, are impossible to deliver. No, they said the same thing 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when we said we are going to be leaving the EU. We did the impossible, apparently. Now, the Labour Party are coming out. Obviously, they're coming out, and so first we have John McDonnell, the Shadow Chancellor. Yeah, he's still there. He's still around. He has said that Priti Patel is on her way out. He's written in the New European newspaper, very credible newspaper. He has said that Priti's chances of keeping her job as Home Secretary is actually now going down. I mean, he may have a point if these people keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So far, Boris Johnson and his government and the whole cabinet have been backing Priti. But again, don't forget about the dark forces. If they use the mainstream media as they have until now, and if they start using more inquiries and investigations, they will force the PM's hand. And hopefully that won't happen. But the Labour Party have their own problems right now. These people who, right now, the leadership election's going on, and Keir Starmer and Rebecca Long-Bailey, one of these who will become the next leader. It will probably be Keir Starmer. This is the person who is so out of touch, the person behind the second referendum policy of the Labour Party, the person who is now saying we need to have free movement, even though we've left the EU. He was interviewed by Andrew Neil about free movement. This is what he said.
People up there who voted Tory, used to vote Labour, voted Tory, immigration being a big issue, they're now all in favour of free movement. Have you been listening to the Red Wall?
I'm trying to explain to you what I've been doing for the last 3 years, which is actually going and having those conversations and getting past the soundbite, do you want immigration, yes, no, and having a discussion going on often for an hour or so about the sorts of things that matter to people. And I've done that out of real respect and wanting to engage with people. Because if in the end it just boils down to, do you want immigration, yes, no, we're going absolutely nowhere.
But almost 4 years ago, you were talking about the need to reduce immigration.
Yes, I was.
Right, so he literally, a few years ago, said immigration needs to come down, because he had to say it. And now he says, I don't think it should be about bringing it down or taking it up. What?
He said, I think now you're talking about free movement. I mean, it doesn't seem that you've learned any lesson from this at all.
You keep putting this to me, and I keep saying...
That's my point.
I know, but you're not listening to what I'm saying, because...
But he's not the only person. Rebecca Long-Bailey, or Becky Long-Daly, she was interviewed about PFIs in the NHS, As you know, the Labour Party are very much against the PFIs, even though it was the same Labour Party who broke the PFIs. and Andrew Neil asked her about this, and this was her answer.
Is that you worked for a lawyer, a senior lawyer in that department, who helped draw up PFI contracts which handed ownership of NHS hospitals to a Luxembourg investment vehicle.
Well, I don't.
You did that.
Well, I didn't do that personally.
Your department
what
did
I will
it.
say is that we did have a department. I did commercial property, and this is where I first experienced the intricacies and the insidious nature of PFI.
Did you work on PFI contracts?
Well, you couldn't not work on PFI if you were doing NHS estates.
So
well,
in what
let me
way?
explain.
In what way would
let
you?
me
In what way would
let me
them?
with PFI. Unfortunately, Andrew, for the NHS, it was the only game in town.
Oh, so she did that when she was involved, and because it was the only game in town. This is Rebecca Long-Bailey, and she was... the problem we have with this race, the Labour leadership election, is that they don't really debate policy differences, because they all believe in the same things. Even Lisa Nandy, they're all basically left-wing. She wants to abolish the monarchy. This one wants to nationalise everything. And even when Rebecca Long-Bailey was asked about the policy differences between her and Keir Starmer, she couldn't answer, so she had to lie about saying, I don't even know Keir Starmer's policies.
I'm struggling to see what the big policy differences are between you and Keir Starmer. Can you give us a significant public policy that you support that he opposes?
Well, this has been one of the sad things about the leadership campaign, if I'm honest, because I hoped we'd get into policy detail so that our members really understood where we stood on certain policy items. And it's been a nice campaign so far, but not
what are
very
the policy
detailed
differences?
at all. I don't know what Keir's policy ideas are, if I'm honest. I know.
Yeah, I really don't want to talk about the Labour Party too much. So let's talk about, on a more kind of light-hearted story. We had Andrea Leadsom making her resignation statement. Obviously, she has now left the cabinet, and in her statement, she's had some experiences with John Bercow, the former Speaker of the House. They didn't like each other. So let's watch her some bits of her statement about her and John Bercow.
Now, this time coincided with my first ever rebellion against a three-line whip, as one of 81 Conservatives to vote for a referendum on EU membership, leading to media speculation that I had told the Chancellor, George Osborne, if you'll forgive me, Mr. Speaker, to F off. Well, I can assure you that there is only one person to whom I might be tempted to provide such frank advice, and that wouldn't include any former or current Chancellor, and certainly not any current Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the result of the EU referendum in June 2016 is right up there with England winning the World Cup for rugby 16 years ago. It's right up there with the look on John Bercow's face when I told him to apologise for calling me a stupid woman.
Yeah, I think one of the best news that's come out so far this year politically is John Bercow leaving the House of Commons. So I'm really glad that Andrea Leadsom made that joke in the comments. We are starting our nationwide tour, as you guys know, 9th of April. We are going to Manchester. It's a similar event that we did in London back in January. We had 500, 600 people, about 400, 500 people turning up. And we had obviously Steve Baker, Douglas Carswell, Nigel Evans. We had a lot of people obviously turning up, supporting. And we're going to do the same thing in Manchester. I'm going to finalise the details. The location is actually sorted. It's in central Manchester. We are also going to different parts of the country as well. Wales, Scotland, North, East, Midlands. We are going to let you know. And again, if you want to support this channel and get something back in return, make sure you check out our membership club. You could get obviously your members only live streams, live Q&As, longer podcasts and videos. So this is the exclusive content you can't find on the main channel. You will find the link either next to the subscribe button. There's a join button, or you can find the link in the description, or you could just go on your browser and type in youtube.com/myitc/join. The channel, the main channel, will remain free. We're not going to create a paywall, so don't worry about that. If you're new to the channel, you enjoy the content, then subscribe and click on that bell next to it so you get notified. We do have a daily show at 5:45 p.m. on myitc. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a new video.